Hi, welcome to Cucina Kouzina. This is the 6th episode, and today we're going to be preparing a Manestra, which is a lamb stew. And we're in the middle of winter right now, so this is a good one-pot comfort food meal. And we're also expecting some snow. So when you come in from the cold, you'll have a nice little meal for yourself. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm placed about 1 tablespoon of olive oil. You can also use avocado oil if you like, into a saucepan. And we're going to increase this a little bit. So, and then we're going to add, now we have 1 pound of lamb stew meat. So get the lamb, that's the stew meat without the bone. This is local pasture raised without antibiotics lamb. I would suggest that you get that because some lamb products that you buy in the grocery stores, it's tough. And this is an excellent, it's a little bit more expensive, but again, I've said before, the ingredients really matter. So into the pot, we're including with clean hands the lamb, and we're going to let that heat up, and you're going to brown the lamb. So you're going to get nice and brown. Season it with some pepper, freshly ground pepper, you can to taste, or about a half a teaspoon if you're going to use already ground pepper, and then you stir that a little bit. And each ingredient gets its 15 seconds of fame. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. And then I'm going to add about a half a teaspoon of salt. And you can add more or less depending on your taste. I'm going to stir that in. Stir that in as well. And when you brown the meat, you want it to be, you don't want to see any of the oozing of any blood. You want to see the nice brown meat. So this is going to take a little bit. Keep stirring so it doesn't stick to the pan. But when you do get those little bits on the bottom of the pan, make sure that you scrape them out so that it gets into the sauce. To that, you're going to add, once it gets a little browner, you're going to chop 1 medium-sized onion, and you're going to add that to the meat. And then you're going to brown the onions. Again, this is going to take a little bit to get all that meat brown. The other thing you want to do is make sure when you get your lamb, there'll be some fat on the, because lamb is a fatty meat. make sure that you trim the fat. You don't want any of that. You don't want to bite into a glob of fat. So you want to trim the fat as well and cut it into bite-sized pieces. Today I'm not using olive oil, I'm actually using avocado oil. That's just a little bit of a variation. I want to see what that tastes like. The crew will let me know. In addition to that, once I put the onions in there, you're also going to mince 3 cloves of garlic. And we're going to add that after we brown the onions, and just until it's fragrant, because you don't want to burn the garlic, because then it gets a little bitter. Okay, we're going to add our onions. Then for our spices, you're going to take, and then again to taste, I love cinnamon, but about 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. You're going to add about ½ a teaspoon of oregano and 1 bay leaf. And I'll show you when to add that. It's all in steps and stages. So you can get your spices ready. You're also going to need 15 ounces of tomato sauce. Canned is fine. You can get any brand that you like. Again, I like organic, but you can use whatever you like. So you want those onions to be brown. The other ingredient that you want, and this is the Manestra, which is the orzo. You're going to use about 2 cups, or depending on maybe a little bit less if you like, if you don't want it too thick, and 32 ounces of chicken broth. Organic is best, but I couldn't find that in the supermarket, so I got one with no artificial preservatives or sugar. You don't want any sugar in the broth. So keep stirring. You want everything nice and brown. In addition to this, you're going to get some tomato paste, which is a little added ingredient. And I also mix it with 2 ounces of red wine. Any type is fine. You can use sherry, you can use, if you use Madeira, it's a little sweet, just so that you know. But if you can use any red wine that you like. And I'll show you that in a few minutes as soon as this browns up. Another thing about the meat, you don't want to use the meat directly from the refrigerator. You want to place it on the counter a little bit, because if you use a cold meat and put it into a hot pan, it starts to seize. So you don't want that either. Okie dokie. We're cooking with gas now. So now we're going to, this is all nice and brown. You're going to see all those little bits on the bottom. That's what you want. And you're just going to saute this just a little bit until you get the fragrance of the garlic. Okay, now we're going to add our tomato sauce. Stir that in. And all those little brown pieces on the bottom, just scrape those out because that's the tasty part. I usually add the cinnamon to the sauce and not to the meat itself, because then it may burn and you don't want to do that. So now we're going to add our cinnamon. Ground cinnamon. Cinnamon seems to be a staple in all Mediterranean dishes. So you're going to stir that in there. I lowered the heat a little bit. Smells great. And now we're going to add the 1 tablespoon of tomato paste with the 2 ounces of red wine. Just stir that in just to make sure you don't have any clumps. Stir that in as well. Pick up the heat a little bit. Now you're going to add your oregano and 1 bay leaf. Some of the recipes do not have the bay leaf, but I think it adds a nice flavor. Just make sure you take it out before you serve it. It's just there to provide some flavor and not to eat it. So let that simmer a little bit. And as you see, this is a pretty simple dish. We're almost done. So to this, you're going to add the 32 ounces of chicken broth. You can use the carton or the canned, or if you have your own, if you've made your own, use that as well. So stir that a little bit. So now what you're going to do is bring this chicken broth up to a boil. So cover it. And then the orzo, I also use the organic bronze cut macaroni product. But again, you can use any kind you want. Okay, so this came to a boil, and now this is 16 ounces or 1 pound of orzo, but I'm not going to use it all. So just add as much as you want. Once that comes to a boil, then stir it. Now what you're going to do after this is you're going to have to keep stirring it because the orzo is going to expand with the liquid and you don't want it to stick to the bottom of the pot. So you're going to have to keep stirring it every couple of minutes until it's done. So it'll take between, depending on your stove, 30 to maybe 45 minutes to cook. What you want is a consistency, and you'll see it once it's done, that it's nice and thick. If it's too thick, then just add some water or some more chicken stock to lighten it up. So what you're going to do now that it's all stirred, you're going to lower the heat to a simmer. And again, about 30 to 45 minutes, but keep stirring it. And then you'll see the consistency, and then we'll be back and we'll plate it. Welcome back, and see, this is the consistency that you want. So what I've done is I've taken the cooked product and placed it in a smaller pan. Just to heat it up a little bit because we were filming earlier. And this is the consistency that you want. And here is the nice bits of lamb they'll just melt in your mouth. Now for plating, you can either, and I'm going to do two. One, it's either going to be plain, and what some other people do with the plating of the product is they take cheese. You can use Parmesan, Romano, or whatever cheese you would like, shredded cheese, shaved cheese, whatever you want. Keeping with the theme of the Italian and Greek cooking, I have Parmesan, a mix of Parmesan, Asiago, and provolone. So what you do is you put it on the plate. This is about, put as much as you want. I mean, it's about an ounce, 2 ounces. So you put this on the plate if you want the cheese. If you don't want the cheese, you don't have to use it. And then you take it, and put that over there. And then you take the hot mixture and put it over the cheese so it will melt. And now I'm plating the mixture that it's plain. And there you have it. This is a nice lamb stew with orzo, and it's called Manestra. Enjoy.